Welcome back to the Plays with Cars YouTube channel and another episode of Field Trip. We are getting ready to go to the PHOSAR. It's the Portland HO Scale Association Racers or something like that. I might have that a little wrong. But anyways, it's the Portland area guys that race HO Scale slot cars, which are these little guys right here that we've shown on the channel quite a few times as part of a collection that I have. But I've never shown some racing before, and that's because every time I've gone slot car racing, it's either been 1/32nd, like in Tacoma, or when I have gone HO racing, I haven't had my camera or anything like that. It's been kind of like a last-second thing, or was in Florida and stuff like that. So we finally get to go to our local ones, and the reason why we're going is there's this gentleman called Bob Beers. He is known as Mr. Aurora. He's the guy that literally wrote the book on collecting Aurora slot cars. Aurora was the original slot car manufacturer, started with vibrators and then Thunderjets. These are Thunderjets right here. They came out in the early 60s and made it all the way to the late 60s, and then in the early 70s they did AFX, the bigger cars, which I have one right here. There's like Magna Traction and Super Magna Traction and all sorts of other chassis names and stuff like that. But generally, you've got Thunderjet size, which is true HO scale, 1/87th. And then your AFX size and all your modern slot cars are more like 1/64th, like the size of a Hot Wheel. Anyways, these are my Thunderjets that I've got ready for the racing event. T-Jets kind of seem to be the thing that people want to race, and with Mr. Aurora coming, I kind of figure that's probably what they're going to run, so I wanted to make sure mine were all ready to go. This is an original that some kid built way back in the 60s that is hacked to all get out, but I love it because people don't collect this kind of stuff. But this is what the cars were like. You can see it's had more than its fair of road rash and glue back togethers and whatnot, which just adds to its character. And the color it actually was originally, that turquoise or teal, was actually really rare on this body. So it's one of those ones where if this car was mint, it's like a $200 car. Instead, it's not mint, it's all trashed. Scrap value to everybody else except for me. I really like it, and it's fun to race. It's fun to race in original. This is an AMX from the Tough One series. It was the first T-Jets that had like big back tires on it and stuff. This one's been modified. Those are AJ's aluminum wheels. That was like the thing to do back in the day, and it's had its rear wheel wells cut. But they've been cut well. I bought this thing on eBay probably 15, 17 years ago, and just love the heck out of it. Again, I can't really afford a perfect Tough One, but one with cut wheel wells I can, and to me this is cooler because this is what people actually ran back in the day. Same thing with this. This is like a $200 T-Jet. If it was nice, you could see this one has cut wheel wells and cut a little gnarlier than my Tough One, but it's my favorite paint scheme color for the original T-Jet AMX. The big bad orange with the yellow stripes is just so unique. And then I've also got this, I believe this is a Dino Ferrari, but I could be mistaken on that one. There were so many sports cars that they did. There could be like an Elva or something like that too. But it's red with the white stripe, classic color. And again, cut wheel wells, although done pretty well, and with the AJs on there. And then this is a reproduction T-Jet. This is by Auto World, who also I've mentioned on the channel numerous times. This is their Corvette Grand Sport, which is a beautiful casting. Most people tend to race the new cars like this because the old cars are kind of worth too much. There's also like collectible versions of the new cars. This is from a company called Model Motoring. I believe they're no longer in business anymore, but they did the first reproduction T-Jets and really changed them and did fun stuff. Like this is a 69 Camaro, which they, I don't believe they made. I know they did the 67. So, they modified it into a 69 and turned it into Grumpy's Toy Camaro, and then this is the 70 Chevelle, which definitely was never made back in the day, and it is just a gorgeous casting, and these are both limited edition ones. I'm bringing some trade bait, and then there's also people like MEV who do resin T-Jets, and this is a 59 Electra, which those of you who've watched my channel a bunch know. I restored my old neighbor Chuck's 59 Electra, and so I'm super close to these. And so when I saw that MEV had made a resin hardtop one, I had to get it. Not in love with the color, thinking about painting it, as blasphemous as that may be, but, for now, at least I've got one. But yeah, that's kind of the collection, but we're going to bring you some racing action from there. Maybe an interview with Bob if he's up to it, or any of the other racers, and then we'll let you know what we got.
We're going to get Bob up in this next race here, though, so he'll be up in the next heat for sure. So.
Yeah, the one that I have to pick up my own car.
Yeah.
I see how he's operating.
Yeah. On our marks, get set, go. Oh, sorry. On our marks,
The
get
lamp
set,
went on in
go.
the house.
We are rolling now.
Oh!
I tried. I did it, but not quite quick enough.
What lane this one in? Blue. Is it still together?
I had one of those ones.
Lane?
White.
If somebody does turn my...
That was the mercy kill right there. Thank you. Oh, back. Thank you.
Mark, set, go.
Seconds. Track on. There you go. It's clear now. Can
Hey,
you push me off the corner, please?
Jim, you can come around the corner if you want there. Those banks are not always good spots to restart.
Yeah, like
Mark, set, go.
Oh, you're right. And we're back from the racing action. Don't know if you caught in the background the talking from the racing, but Suzi went with me and she raced. They did a IROC series, which was original AFXs, kind of like this. Although that's a G Plus chassis. Anyways, with like a Tomy turbo chassis or something like that on there, but we raced them, and they were super, super, super fun. And what you did is you had to run all 4 lanes of the track, and each lane had a different car on it, and so it equaled out the racers for the cars. It was super fun. We both did that, and I think we both finished 3rd. And then they finished that up and did the like the main race and all that stuff, and then they went to running these more modern, actually that's the Tomy Turbo. Anyways, they did these more modern cars with the Le Mans bodies like that, and we borrowed some from the host organizers, and did pretty well. I think I finished my race 2nd or 3rd, but didn't score quite enough laps to make it. Suzi came in 2nd and made it to the B main. So they had 2 qualifiers, and there wasn't enough people to do a 3rd qualifier, so they did the 2 other people that wanted to run, and then 2 second placers for second chance into the A main. And so in the B main, she won it, got into the A main, and then proceeded to come in 3rd in the A main and podium on her very first slot car race. So that was super fun to watch. Everybody there was really, really, really nice. We cannot wait to go back and race with PHOSAR again. They were great guys. Definitely try to do some more filming with them next time when there's not so much hubbub around visiting people, and really get in on the racing. But it was awesome to meet Mr. Beers. I've been a fan of his forever, and when I say he wrote the book, I mean he literally wrote the book on collecting slot cars. My dad had this book when I was a kid growing up, and I spent hours and hours and days and weeks and months and years reading this book and going over every single fact in it, all of the cars, looking at the pictures, just dreaming of the day that my collection would have all of these cars in it. And funnily enough, Mr. Beers is into real cars as well. That's him right there. And he has two of the cars that were actually won by the kids that raced the Aurora slot cars back in the 60s, a 63 T-Bird and a 64 T-Bird and 66 Mustang. But also in his collection is a 69 AMX 394 speed. So we talked AMCs for a long time. So yeah, it was really cool to meet him. But anyway, so I got my own copy of the book finally. And then there's this new book that came out. Bob was telling us this is the guy that was one of the vice presidents at Aurora. And so it's the international markets for the G Plus and AFX years. He said there's some really cool stories in there. So I picked one of those up, as well as Bob is doing his tour right now. It's only the second time he's done this. He's going all the way across the United States and back, from Connecticut out here to the West Coast and back. And he had these cars made by Speedmasters, which is who owns AFX now. And it's the new Ford GT. He had it done in a special color blue with the white stripes, which is what the real Ford GT was debuted with at the auto show. And they did a little thingy here on the back, even showing his garage. That's the T-Bird and the Mustang there with Mr. Beers. And yeah, it has this whole little blurb about the history of Aurora and Ford and the Grand Nationals and them giving away cars and all that stuff, which we really wanted to commemorate. So they did 3,000 of these, and we were able to pick these up from Bob at the event. So I went ahead and got one for me and one for my dad as a thank you. So I'm not sure if Dad watches the videos, but if you do, you got a box coming. But anyways, I also picked up some more cars for my collection, because that's what Mr. Beers does. He collects slot cars, and boy, let me tell you, he's got a great selection. So I got some more for the collection. You guys know I love my G Plus era stuff, and this one is wild with the huge wings and huge hood scoop and the little mirrors and everything, and it's still great. Nothing is broken off. Really happy to add that one to the collection. I also picked up some stuff from the locals. I got this from one of the racers, a Datsun 240Z. He was really funny. I forget his name. I'm terrible with names, but he was telling me that he's a racer, not a collector, and he tends to kind of destroy every car he gets because he races them. And this car is kind of a rare one and kind of a nice one. It's got one little bent pillar, but it's good enough for my collection. And so I was super happy to pick up a Datsun. You guys know I love my Datsun 240Zs. But then, yeah, I also got this really sweet Corvette from Bob, a Porsche 917 K3, the Can-Am car. This is after Mark Donahue was injured and couldn't run anymore for that season. The RC Cola car is the one that ended up winning the championship. I forget. I want to say it's Ronnie Peterson, but I'm probably wrong on that. I'll have to go back and read my history. But really cool car. And this is a Porsche 962 in an AFX scheme that's kind of reminiscent of like Lowenbrow or something like that. I picked this one up actually to race because this is the car that everybody was racing there that you had to have your own car. It wasn't the IROC series. And I don't have one of these in racing shape. So it was really good to pick one up that is one that I actually enjoy too. I also got this Tyco Porsche 911 Turbo. It's a slant nose, anyways, I had one of these as a kid, and somehow it went missing from my collection. I must have sold it or traded it or something through the years, but I've been wanting to get that one back for a while. Same thing with the blue Lamborghini here. I still vividly remember for Christmas getting the super duper double looper set from Tyco, which had like 2 loop-de-loops and 2 up-the-wall things, and it had a red chrome and a blue chrome Lamborghini, and I loved the blue chrome Lamborghini. It was my favorite car, of course, the child of the 80s. Had the Countach poster up on the wall of my bedroom. Thought it was the coolest car in the world. I had built a model car and painted it blue, so when they came out with this blue chrome, I was just in love. I raced the snot out of mine, broke the wing off of it, scratched it all to hell. I still have it, but obviously it doesn't look like this. So when Reggie, the race organizer, had this in his for sale or trade box, I was like, I gotta have that, man. So I did pick that up from Reggie. And then I also got this Thunderjet body from Bob. It needs a little help, and I'm actually going to customize this one. I'll take the glass and stuff out of it and fix all the little issues with the roof here and whatnot, and actually paint this one up and put it on a T-Jet chassis and make it look like one of the GT40s. I haven't decided yet. I'm kind of probably going to go with Gulf Blue just because this is an original light blue car. And it is a Mark II, and that's, the iconic colors for that. But we'll see. It's a fun project. And then the last thing I picked up, now, one of these is mine. This one right here. I've had this since I was a kid. Raced 10 bazillion miles on it, but I've always kept really good care of it. You can see it's actually in really dang nice shape, especially considering I've owned this thing since I was 7. But it does have a little bit of paint wear on the rear spoiler, and on the roof there and on some other spots. Bob had one that was absolutely mint perfect, and I do mean mint perfect. This thing was like literally taken out of the bag by Mr. Beers himself, and it is perfect in every way, and I just had to have it. So I actually did some trading with Bob as well. I didn't just buy he was actually interested in some of my model motoring stuff, so that was pretty cool that I actually had something he was interested in. So anyways, it was a super awesome, amazingly fun time. It was wonderful to meet all these guys. It was wonderful to talk slot cars and race and run, and then watch Suzi, race and kind of kick everybody's butt. It was really funny, and I was getting no end of ribbing for that too, but I'm used to it because, she does really well with the real cars as well, Project Porsche and stuff like that. So it was a really great time. Can't wait to go back. We'll definitely be doing some more PHOSAR racing. And look for more updates on HO scale slot car stuff, especially the on-track action. It was a lot of fun to shoot that with the cameras. So, in fact, I've got to get some of the footage cut down and sent over to Reggie to use as his new footage for the racing for PHOSAR. So, yeah, I got some work to do with the camera stuff. But until next time, that's been Miniatures Monday here on the Plays with Cars YouTube channel.